And we're back here on a Tuesday, new week, after the big Vegas live stream with Mitch Ray. Got to give a shout out to Mitch and his crew. Uh, Appreciate it. Everybody that worked to put that together, everyone that showed up. Quick note about the people that won books or contributed. Please, folks, we were only talking about Volume 3. I don't know. Some people had mentioned that they contributed multiple times. They wanted multiple books. And then other people said they got already have Volume 3. They want Volume 2. Please talk to Miss Stephanie in the Discord with everything that we do. So absolutely. Hey, Brad Fisher, thank you as well. Brad Fisher really worked hard to put on the event for this weekend, and was just a blast. Mitch and I got into a whole bunch of different markets. We see, a quick pop over the last 2 days. We'll get into that. Some markets have hit the check back point that we were talking about. It was a week ago. So a lot has happened since that last week. So thanks again, Brad. Really, you and Mitch and everybody else that showed up. A real blast. Also, amazing, Bitcoin is still at 20,000. We have to talk about this. This is the sleeper trade of the century. I mean, it's going to take real guts to hold this 20,000, right? What are we doing? What is crypto going to do? The big thing to take note of, okay, that we started the new quarter. Not only we finished September, but end of the month, end of the week, end of the quarter. And then we've got a lot of considerations immediately how this quarter and this year, how these two are going to shape up. Absolutely. Well, let's call it more the harmonic dice system, because I don't know if I'm technically allowed to be teaching gambling strategies inside of a casino, David. That occurred to me after the fact. Anyway, check out, I'll have to retweet. It's on my Twitter feed. Everybody, David V had made a comment about what happened on Saturday. I hope if you guys had some dice and a chance to check that out, let me know what you think about that. Let me know if that dice system, harmonic dice system, is something you find interesting with the sevens that pop up. Here's the link on my Twitter feed, folks, so you can check me out. Twitter at Harmonic Trader is the handle there. So also, if you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the like button, that's appreciated too, so you can catch out when I'm online. I've been away for a few days. I had to travel yesterday. It just wasn't going to work out. But we're back to it, and we'll be back on Thursday. We'll give away some more books. Again, I really appreciate if people I'm willing to continue this policy, as long as we don't get into too many issues with people haggling me, and especially if you have one already. Let's try to keep it open for those that, want to win books. So, absolutely. Thanks again. Shout out to the chat. Hey, Rose, David, Stephanie, Miss Stephanie, how are you? D, Evan, Puddle Smoker, amazing videos of the world. What's going on, everybody? Scotty Joe, hey, thanks for that tip as well. Wish you could have been there, but I know you were there. I felt it, felt the presence. Do I ever use Pi 5 bands? That's a great question, Evan. That's something I've been thinking about popping up, because we do need to look at Pi 5 bands for where we are in the limit of the downtrend. Let's get into it quickly. Let's start right here, Bitcoin. Let's use that to jump in and take a look, because Pi 5 bands, maybe let's save that for Thursday, but I do want to talk about crypto, the markets, relative to long-term downtrends. Okay, what are we going to do in this zone? Because a lot of these markets have come back and they've done the type 2 return. If you're talking about Microsoft, QQQ, the SPY, a lot of those big name markets, trading vehicles, they've done the retest. Crypto, okay, well, Ethereum, it's not quite there yet. Bitcoin is doing, I think, interesting things at 20K that It's not an opportunity yet, but it's really trying to threaten the downtrend line. And I would still wait for some kind of larger development, another HSI test, some kind of short-term oversold reading within this larger zone. I'm just impressed it's going sideways. I'm not doing anything about it, but I'm just going to keep a real close eye, especially as we get into the end of the year, because 90 days to complete tax loss selling. Think of it that way. So if you're in a lost crypto position, your clock is ticking. You've got 90 days to, and that goes for all equity positions. You know, the tax loss situation with NASDAQ minus 27, 28%, other markets down 22, 23%. They're going to trim holdings in big losers. So that's going to put some pressure here. Who are they going to dump? Who are they going to try to hold? With crypto, the larger, I think, question is, the people who are going to get out are probably going to get out before the end of the year. Everyone that's staying in through next year is basically committed to the next Bitcoin halving cycle, which is in less than 550 days, if you're counting, and I am. Bitcoin here, no edge, really, nothing yet, especially with the rollover and the retest of the 18,000 mark. 18,000 still has to hold. You can bump stops a little bit, because anything underneath the current lows will trigger probably a 1618 drop deeper, closer to the hop. That's something we talked about last week. That the only scenario, call it a cab. It was funny, someone called not the BAM breakdown, but the crab, call it a cab breakdown, which is what could possibly happen with this kind of alignment if you do roll over in the zone. This is your B point there, close to an 886, gets you to a 1618. Think of that as like the final divergent move in the larger zone. I don't care about today. It is holding 20,000, but this is any close under 18,000 triggers that scenario, and that's like it's a breakdown. It's a harmonic breakdown move. Absolutely. Sumit, maybe we could look at the Indian market. Do remind me. We can look at that maybe in a little bit. I need to bust through Bitcoin, some of these larger markets first. Larger downtrend here with Bitcoin under 18,000, but is that a possible capitulation phase? If we get that, we see that. We'll talk about the dollar index in a second, because that's starting to come off, and you really do need dollar index to stop it, like immediately. Dollar index, if that just keeps going higher, you're going to see that continued pressure across the board. Bitcoin, 20,000. Is Michael Saylor, I think he's watching that closely. The other situation of what I think is even more telling than Ethereum is Binance Coin. And this is something I've been saying, watch this market specifically as a leader. Okay, is this 256 holding? How do you feel about that now? Talk to me now about what's going on there, everyone. If you understand this is a type 1 reaction. Correct? And so what's the possibility for Binance Coin? I'm just kind of talking this through as I would with anything, any type 1, type 2. The likelihood is we are in that type 2 return phase, which we almost hit this morning, actually. The high was 297.26. Guess what the XA level is? 297.24.5 cents. So by definition, you've already re-entered for the type 2 off of this bat, and now you'd want confirmation. But structurally, okay, the return phase has completed. But the fact that you held 256, now you're in a type 2, tells you framework is holding nicely here. And then look at HSI. Okay, now you're really piecing it together. on Binance Coin, you're into the overbought zone. Let's track that by Thursday. If that pivots out, that could give you the confirmation. Again, we're just starting here into early October. If you're looking for more volatility, if you're looking for some kind of capitulation into October of a historic nature, we're in that window. We're really in that 2-week window where if you're going to see an October demise, you're talking by the 21st, maybe the 24th at the latest. It's like, I always think of it's like hurricane season. Once you get past hurricane season, especially for us down in Miami, although we're already there, I feel like the same deal with these October situations. And historically, markets confirm lows in November, wherever they may be. They confirm typically a 6-month to 8-month, 9-month low. Is that what we're going to get? And don't forget that we also are seeing upcoming midterm elections, incredibly, that are 4 weeks from today. Wow, I think that's 4 weeks from today. That's a big deal on Binance Coin. Not only the fact that we've hit it today, 297, but what happens going from this point forward. Can we get a run to 330? Depends on how HSI comes out of the zone. So please be mindful of this test for Binance Coin. It's one of the top coins I've been saying is you have to watch it to get a better understanding of where crypto is going to go. And you're hitting overbought currently. Today into tomorrow, real important inflection possibilities. And then finally, Ethereum, which is still hanging in there. I mean, I think Ethereum, if Ethereum was strong, we'd be back above 14 or 1500. This whole bat action magnet move scenario is still on track. And I'm not going to really veer from this if we get a little consolidation back to 1400. I don't think maybe you kiss that the underside of that support and then you come back down. But this sideways action as well, look at it. You know, Ethereum spending how many days? Better part of over 10 days since that initial low in this sideways zone. 13 days here. Likely to resolve itself back at the 1,000 mark. And maybe that's what's happening where Ethereum's getting this final adjustment retest, and maybe Bitcoin waffles between 18K and 20K. We don't see any, clear signals on Bitcoin yet. We know what Binance Coin looks like. Here's something interesting to consider with another big one, which is Cardano. All the way back down to the low 40s, folks, but look, flashing a shark at 43 cents. You see that? Flashing the shark again. 41.7. Little shark pattern. Okay, I want to see small bullish patterns. We know about the large zones, okay? Looking for these larger zones to give us then some kind of secondary signal, smaller pattern inside the bigger zone. That seems to be what we need to see if we're going to go sideways for 100 days. You've got this massive, check it out, it's this big bat pattern. It's a retest at the hop. It's an alternate bat. No, it's a regular bat. It's an ugly bat, but at least you have another smaller pattern to go off of. And the downtrend situation for Cardano, we know that was one of the first ones to break out of this downtrend force that started last August. And now that's the first bullish pattern we see. I mean, and again, that's the preferred scenario. Clear the downtrend, consolidate, fine, hold the lows, give us a bullish pattern. Do it somewhere here. And yeah, you see it on all the data feeds are in agreement too, which is from a software perspective. Sometimes the slight differences, as I always say, can vary the pattern readings, but in this case, no. You're seeing all of the data feeds generate basically 43 cents, 42 cents, all of that. So let's, Cardano, I'll keep an eye on it. It's one that I have not looked at for a long time, and I still say that if it fails, say under 37, under 38, you have big trouble. Really, this is scraping absolute lows. Just take a look. Go to the monthly on this one. Pretty clear. Pretty clear that Cardano, like a lot of the other ones, could it be a capitulation? Sure. Could this whole zone do something crazy where you flush it if something happens? And it would be this month. Keep an eye on that. The monthly chart, look at these candles. They don't look too healthy. I've been saying for a while, to end these long moves, you need to see at least one weekly candle, bullish candle, a couple of dailies, a 3-bar daily reversal, stuff like that. Little signs to actually end the downtrend pressure, but that's still what you're dealing with on Cardano. Quickly, want to look at the total crypto market cap because some of the other things I need to look at, crude oil, the dollar, some currencies, all of it's busting now. But let's go to total crypto 3. That's without Bitcoin and Ethereum because we had a bunch of stuff there. A couple of back-to-back patterns. Okay, remember this crab pattern and then the bat pattern. So ever since that bat pattern, we've completed the reaction. And this total 3, as I've said, it's had a number of nice patterns on 4-hour, daily, weekly. Okay. And without Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's going to give you a lot better sense of what's the weaker part of the market capitalization going to do. This is $372 billion of garbage, quite frankly, of, digital junk. Is it overhyped? Is this all a scam? I don't think it's all a scam. But if you're going to go for the total garbage to get a real sense of how bad or what the sentiment is to really embrace a garbage sector without Bitcoin and Ethereum, you would look at this. And it's holding up. Hasn't broken the downtrend yet, but it needs to resolve essentially the small bearish pattern. Here it is in that smaller zone. This one squeezed between basically 450 billion on the downside to about 350 on the bottom. That has to hold against the weekly crab pattern. And what we've been looking for is this type 2 return. Maybe it comes in a delayed fashion because, look, there's the move from pattern completion down to target zone. We've gone sideways. You can't get under 365. You need to have that come back to like 450 and complete that type 2 on the bat. That's one thing. The other is your RSI. Again, for all crypto, you need to see it do this now. RSI, whether it's standard RSI or amplified, needs to bust above the 50. So we get in here next few days into by Monday. If these daily charts can get higher and break out, which they do over the next, I would say 3 days, need to bust this RSI factor, get it above 50, get it on a run back to the overbought side of things to at least get out of the hole and retest some higher levels. Needs to have to, for the bullish reaction or return scenario to take hold in the next 48 hours, you need to see these 50 levels get taken out. It's close. It's real close. I mean, it's at a point where that breakout in the indicator can lead the price action. So, and that's total 3. Here's the total. This is everything at 920 billion. What was this? This was oh yeah. Okay, check it out. This was a deep crab. Another small ABCD that completed in the zone. and that spelled more time to consolidate. So you're still looking for, it's a bearish pattern, but you're still looking for that smaller retest at a minimum. This one, not as good. I think it's kind of dragging more so on the total than total 3, but you do have the 50 factor, the 50 limit. You're trying to get above 50 right now on amplified RSI. That's a daily chart. And then here's HSI, same deal. That would be a real strong move where it leads the price. This is it's a tough spot, but when you consolidate, you go sideways as you try to resolve this big downtrend. The breakout in that indicator is usually what gets you going where the price starts to move. Need to see that. I would think, again, Thursday we come in here and we're going to be talking about this. We'll get to some of those other coins on Thursday. Need to jump over to couple of the big markets that I mentioned last week are the ones that we need to trigger off of and make sure that they're in alignment with the larger market. We know that the larger markets are all about the retest from July levels, June levels. Here's Microsoft. Okay, one of the big 2 or 3 we have mentioned just completed the type 2 last week while we were away. We said 241.60. That was your minimum. The hop level at 221.75. We got the trigger, what was that? I think Wednesday at 233. And it checked back. So there's today, Monday, Friday, Thursday was checked back. I mean, beautiful. So this thing has checked back, has completed the type 2. Is early, but really today's the first day where you're going to get even a 3-bar breakout. Look at Microsoft anywhere in this low 240 area now. I mean, now, are we going to explode and then go right to target 2 at 287? Keep an eye on that. That is the objective here for the target 2. If that happens, market's going to run. Market will give you a relief rally if we can continue today's breakout. Keep an eye on that. That's one of a couple. Here's the other one with Apple. We were looking for 132 on this one. It got to 137. Close, but it's starting to come together. I mean, you could have something where earnings or something comes out and the market's still in this type of downtrend down to the 131.86 structural level we're looking for on Apple. So, okay, Microsoft hit, bouncing today. Apple is bouncing, but still hasn't registered officially. Keep an eye on that. Now, here's the big one, which is Tesla. And look how that has played out, because that was strong just recently on the retest as high as above 300 and then got hit real hard. Now, how does everyone feel about the type 2 return? I mean, it's been, I think, with the exception of a few extra days to consolidate here up in this 310 area, the fact that you had the reaction up the target 1-2 zone, HSI came there, and now we're on the full return. As I said, 201, 208 area, I think is still completely in play, especially after the last day or two. And the breakdown gap from yesterday, in light of how good the action was, pretty telling. And remember, this is a weekly chart. Here's the Tesla. There you go. The Tesla weekly bat pattern. So you folks that are here and you know type 1, type 2, how do you feel about that type 2 return? Pretty good, right? Give me a shout out, because I do. And I would be looking at that weekly 886 as a minimum level. Minimum. you're still 40 lower. But when we were saying, hey, watch this thing rolling over, we were 285, 300. That's how we got to navigate through this, the current action. I mean, last 2 days, dramatic, up, down 1,000 last week, back up 1,000 on the Dow. But this is how we got to lay out the framework to really navigate through all of this. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Thank you, stupid head. Appreciate it. Sumit, yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate that. Keep an eye on those, folks. I think a lot of them are shaping up. Let's quickly jump over to some energy. What's going on there? Because talk about volatile. Hold on, fix this really quick. Seems like crude oil wants to do just zigzag on its way down. Trying to put in, well, there's a nicely doji last week. This is something that happened on Friday. Almost perfect doji, not a little bullish there, but I would say that you say that's a bullish doji candle, reversal candle, but you still need a 3-bar breakout, which is above 89, and you're going to stay in this 80 level for a while. Here's the daily. Check this daily. Okay, you're just kind of scraping this hop level of the crab. I still don't think that crude oil, other than these reactions, are going to do much until you get lower. We were talking 70s on the weekly chart. So again, a lot of chop as it grinds lower. And take a look at, say, natural gas, which even fundamentally I think is the big crisis market, since that's the real, that's the bigger source of petro they're trying to solve, European crisis or whatever. We're back down close to the 6 level. Actually, UNG is the vehicle, really best trading vehicle, I think, for ETFs. But here's UNG's back down to 22. And where did we go? Oh, hold on. Oh, here we go. So what we were looking for on nat gas and crude oil in general is a little bit lower off of the deep crab. It was a type 2. Come down, type 1, bang, return. And we look for target 2, or at least we hit under the 2186 level. Now show me the first HSI somewhere down here. Not quite there yet. Came close. But ultimately, that's your objective for crude oil energy. And that helps. If that keeps coming off, which I think it will, longer term, I'm still fine on energy. I just think you got to go through this deeper correction, and you get dollar index to continue to do stuff like this. What's that daily? What's that big ABCD it's got? I don't know why. I'm just seeing that now. It's tagging some kind of ABCD off the top, but I don't think that's. Let me just remove that. I want to just focus on the price action. There you go. Dumping the last few days was 114, now 110. Under 110, I think, becomes bigger psychological considerations for people that are looking at stuff like this straight move up all year. Are you going to take profits into the end of the year? Likely. HSI, nothing up there. This was actually, no, this is the monthly. Sorry, here you go. I know this is a monthly retest. There you go. So here is the deep crab on the monthly chart. It's a type 2. Last time we were talking about this was saying, all right, you're above the hop level. We need to see one monthly candle that's bearish to even consider any kind of reversal happening here. So maybe also take note that the last month's low was around 107. And that's essentially what you're going to do. You're going to probably challenge this range for the month. You're 110 now. Maybe you get down and touch the lower part of that candle's body at 108 and change. At least it taking a break, and then look at here. There you go. RSI amplified on these monthly charts. They're trying to roll over. I mean, here's RSI on DXY trying to roll over. You need to get that out of the zone this month. Come out like that. HSI, that's actually good to see that where it is, where the potential for that to trigger by the end of the month. Not bad. And here is this is amplified RSI, so this should move out a little bit quicker than the rest. Let's see what this does in the next few weeks. If you can get this to trend lower and trigger out, that would be substantial, but it would be the first sign. Just a first sign, but at least you would take that pressure that's been, look, these are where the market's topped out. Right where this type 2 return started. That was early January, very late December. And it's been kind of inverse market. DXY up, market down. Think about it. The other thing, wasn't this also a quarterly chart? I mean, crazy long-term harmonic levels going on here. Oh, yeah, that was quarterly as well. So even longer term, talk to me at the end of the year. I don't know why that HSI is not working. But our amplified measures on the quarterly trying to roll over. So we'll know. I mean, by the end of the year, we'll know what the long-term significance of this is. It's hold on. Did we hit? No, we must have. I think we felt just shy of the multi-year or the decade-long 886 like this. Yeah, we felt just shy of that 886. That actually, had we hit that 886, I would say we're looking at an inflection. Almost a perfect shark. I mean, off of that little impulse move, really close to being an ideal shark pattern. The absolute high on DXY was 114.75, and the 886 was 115.54. We'll watch it. Listen, it's going to take more than even one bar to change this whole tone. I think this is, you're hitting these extreme points where wait for the one bar, 1 week, 1 month, 1 quarter turnaround, because the recovery phase, whenever that begins, if it's end of December, January, or if it's March or next July, whatever, it's going to take time. You're dealing with longer term cycles here. A couple of the things I wanted to get to that relate them to, say, the things we're seeing in the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, like the Qs especially. We know that quarterly candle, long-term candles for the SPY and the Qs, they don't look good. I mean, this candle from last quarter, I think I mentioned this last week, a real ugly retest against the second quarter's candle. So a pretty clear also closing basically at the lows, 357 on the SPY is your absolute support point. And failing that takes you lower against the whole COVID range, which is the only consideration if you need to understand, okay, what are the valid points of how low is this thing going to go? You measure it against the COVID range. Hold on, let me bring that back over like that. There you go. So still in a downtrend also until that downtrend move, downtrend itself is violated. Not much here yet, though. Let me go to the daily. So the daily had patterns from back in June, and we did have the retest. We saw all that in Microsoft. We had this bat pattern, but still nothing on HSI. A couple of RSI and amplified RSI readings that have registered down here, but nothing on HSI. Did not get down oversold enough. Hold on, I'm going to bring this back. And then the weekly, here you go. Here's the weekly. And so there's your weekly for SPY as well. Took out the low from, what was that, the June 21 low. And just getting a quick bounce back. But you're not even at the 50 level on SPY at 349, 350. Which I think is going to have to be retested from a structural level longer term. And again, you're not there. You're not quite even oversold at these levels. Just a singular bounce. What I want to see is how do we finish this up going into the end of the month. Here's the 4 hour. There you go. So still down and still work this yellow line even on the 4 hour chart. Let's say we came back to 380, 385, something like that. You're still continuing lower. This is tough to see, but we had a lot of these really strange type 2s, bearish patterns that preceded this move, and that remains the same. So, you know, the fact that you have this bearish resistance here also only adds to the fact that there's more. Any kind of a bounce here would require a great deal to get out of the zone. Go to the diamonds. The diamonds had the best type 2 return characteristic. Go on the daily here. Great. Had a deep crab, a lot like Microsoft, right? I mean, this with the deep crab, perfect type 1. This time we have another deep crab that just completed on, what was that? I think it was Friday. There's the type 1 for the crab that completed in June. Now we have a butterfly on the retest, all of that around 290. And you did have confirmation. So we could be bouncing around here where we clearly in reaction phase after that check back. Oh, sorry about that. Hold on one second. And you're 302 currently. All right, maybe we get up to 309. That's basically 31,000 on the index. Come back and then do the type 2 return for a secondary retest of the butterfly, something like that. Keep an eye on it. A couple of these markets did trigger like this Thursday and Friday, and it blasted off Friday and today. But they're still going to have to go through the 1-2 dynamics. Nice one, though. Nice one on that. And the QQQ, look, that had the NASDAQ and just structurally a little bit different than, say, the S&P and the Dow. I don't think it's as strong. The harmonic patterns that have kind of lined up have been dragging. I mean, you have a few things, but let me just isolate the real crab pattern that we've been talking about, which looks like this. And let me remove that other one. Just let's look at this against the crab pattern. So on the QQQ at 289 is your hop level. Both of these have been, you know, on every test, sinking well below the pattern zone, not in the best of the best of situation. If you want to see a real strong response, even if this is just a reaction, which it is, pretty weak reaction, and I would still consider this in your best of cases to be a type 1 reaction up to 347, but you are scraping absolute limits. So you're lucky you bounced. This is not over in any stretch of the imagination. The thing to look for today for the QQQ is going into the close. Are we going to get that 3-bar reversal? 1, 2, 3 finally today, or this reversal range, which is above 281? Keep an eye on that. You really need to see follow through. If this rolls over by tomorrow and is not higher, I would then be really suspect of the last 2 days. That's the issue here. Is this just a dead cat bounce? It very well could be. You're scraping the lows, you're starting the new quarter. You're definitely oversold. I mean, here on QQQ, the daily level, you do have triple confirmation. You're deeply oversold. We'll see that by Thursday. I think we'll know if that triple confirmation is going to be a larger sign to get us maybe do a full type 1 move. This is again where give it a little more time. I'm not ready to jump just yet, but it's got my attention. I'll take a look. Yeah. All right, I will. Hey, Samit, you have to give me a symbol if you want me to look at that. Whatever. I'll go over to the other platform in a minute. Yeah, Netflix. Okay, Netflix. Remember this last week, and again, this is another one where you're in reaction territory, but you're bucking up against some of the bearish patterns. Hold on one second. I've got to find. I know what I got to do. Hold on. Here's Netflix daily chart, please. Yep. Netflix daily looks like this. Shark pattern up there. Oh, this is a crab. This is one of those small crab patterns. We talked about this last week. Okay, going sideways in this crab zone where, yeah, it's a verifiable opportunity for how we would look at harmonic patterns. It completed the pattern here, going sideways. No confirmation yet. Almost did a type 1 without confirmation, but we would need to see HSI register. Maybe it goes up to like the hop level at 252, something like that. Not quite there yet. Also, take a look at this daily. Okay. The last HSI that we had was a bullish HSI in the bearish zone right there. That always tells you it's going to take more time. Wait for the retest or wait for the next bearish HSI, which I think would be up here closer to the 252 level. Keep an eye on that. Oh, perfect, Chris. Chris is asking me for Intel. This is something also we haven't talked about in a few weeks, but we need to. Semis. Some of the 3 ideas I posted for premium members were 1 or 2 semis that are getting very close. Here's SMH. And this just registered on actually yesterday with HSI. Perfect type 1, type 2 characteristics. Actually, everything. Type 1, reaction. Type 2, return. All with confirmation. There's the pattern completion. HSI comes in. Go to target 1. HSI comes right in at target 1 to say game over. Reaction over. Right on cue. Rolls back over. Rolls back down. And then back down to this zone. So the 1618 at 194.67. That's your minimum target. Got as low as what? 186. Triggering. Just triggered on yesterday's close. And following through. So, yeah, now I want to be on semis. Looking closely. Stuff like this. Tell me about what's happening, say, on amplified or standard RSI. They seem to be rocketing out of the zone, which is a great sign. Here's standard RSI. You need to get that above 50. You get that above 50, this price will start to expand. And target 1 at 239 is the objective. That's being conservative, but just taking target 1. That's minimum target, but we know it's a type 2. So not surprised to see if this goes even higher, but you need to get this thing to really unfold from this reversal now and spend the next 3 days doing some kind of continuation. This could be a good call option play, you know, a low risk, play some calls, out of the money calls into the end of the year. Yeah, I'm sorry, I've got this. Hold on, this has got me confused. Keep an eye on that. 1 second. We went over Ethereum and crypto towards the beginning. A couple more. All right, really quick, I will look at Nifty. Let me just look at the Nifty index as a whole. One moment here. Where is it? All right, here you go. This is for you, Samit. And if you don't have the software, get the software. So before I even go further, everyone go to harmonictrader.com. Okay, sign up, become a basic member, and as everyone knows, get with the TradingView program. So Samit, you have to get with the TradingView program now. I will look at the Nifty, but you can do it yourself by sending your username to hpc@sr-analyst.com and get the 14-day free trial. Okay? The other platforms for MetaTrader, eSignal, Ninja, Sierra, you can get those too. All right, but just check them out. Take a look and decide before really getting into it. I recommend having at least TradingView and one other one. I'm actually running 3. Now, your Nifty chart looks like this. Your June lows, you're still haven't retested, but this one on Nifty retested a bunch of stuff from the beginning of the year where it's a little further along. Go to, I know there's something big here on the weekly. Yeah, the HSI that just generated. I was looking at this like a week or two ago, noticing just having some overbought resistance with HSI around 17.8. So if you see this thing go sideways into the end of the year, don't be surprised. I think it's fared well more than many indices. This thing's really held up. This is the index, this is a Nifty 50 out of India, folks. So there's your history on Nifty. And you did register, what was that, back in June? Yeah. Looks like that was a pretty big bottom that the Indian market put in June. And you're pausing there, but kind of like a lot of the long-term trending dynamics with Harmonic Strength Index just registering. So, 15.5, if you had a retest of 15.5, that would be it. And that thing launches again. Not bad. Isn't that the big one? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, TCS. That's a big Indian stock, right? There you go. Okay, that's one for your market. There's TCS. You got a couple of things. You got a bat, you got an alternate bat, and you've got a crab pattern. All of that around 29.50, just a shade under 3,000. And that one's really, like a lot of these markets, trying to find an intermediate low for within the long-term trend. And this is probably something just to preface Thursday of the things that I want to talk about on Thursday relate to the longer-term trends, which are define what's going to happen into next year. Are we going to continue the long-term trend accelerated trend of the last few years, which should be continuing on that kind of a trend line, or are the larger markets coming back to the long-term trend and then they will continue? This is one of the biggest stocks in India, but this could be pretty much any big cap stock. That's where we are with the markets in general. You got to see how far this stuff will progress. You got 2 days here. We're into the market. Yeah, look, NASDAQ was up over 300. What is it? It's 280. Yeah, it was up 350 or something. It's rolling over a little bit. And the Dow has been up over 1,000. Don't be surprised to see these things roll back down. You know, two trading days, barely 10 hours, 12 hours of trading sessions do not make a bottom. But we are here. And if you look at stuff like SMH, that's 2 of 2. Microsoft showing us 2 of 2. What's Intel got for us? Devastation. Probably better to look at a weekly. Yeah, look at that. Remarkable. I don't, Intel, nothing there to excite me. Not when you're dropping like that. There's the all-time chart for Intel, folks. Wow. 65 or 68 all the way down to 27. Again, nothing there yet. And this one fits very well within that whole argument I was just saying about TCS and big cap stocks in general, which I will save for Thursday, but to look at long-term measurements to get an idea of where this could potentially go. But that's your long-term uptrend. This was the proposition of the last 10, 15 years, just in the same way you had from 95 to 2000. And once that was cracked, you took years to resolve that. That's the concern. Here's one or two. Here's the 3 ideas from the website from a few weeks ago, which is Qualcomm, which we've been targeting down here, 112 area, 115 area. This is trying to give us a signal. And Qualcomm, I mean, here you are able to buy it almost on a 50% discount. I definitely want to look at those areas. Let's go to the weekly. Okay. It's a bat pattern. Type 2. Yeah, the hop was 112. The low was 112.92. So this is a big type 2. But you fail the hop, it's over. I think this is a low risk, high reward because it's a type. There's type 1 there. Back down for type 2. Now you need to see at least a 1-bar reversal out of the zone here above 125 to get going. But you're looking for target 2 on that move. Not a bad position. But again, like the rest of these markets, just the fact that we've popped for 2 days really doesn't mean a heck of a lot. In fact, you're scraping some edges that need to show us a lot of improvement. Qualcomm is a good one, and I mentioned this when I posted it, that HSI had confirmed on the daily. On the weekly, it's going to confirm this week. Same with Amplified here. So some of these are deeply oversold, retesting in ideal fashion. And I don't want to shut down to at least like a reactive opportunity existing here. There's another one, SAP. Weekly crab pattern, 87. So with the last few days, that's a pretty big move. I haven't taken a position on this yet, but I do think if we're going to reverse from the hop, even if we do a reactive, some kind of reactive move, and just trade up into the zone. Maybe look to get the 100 calls. But only if this thing's going to continue. And we'll know that next few days. I think by Thursday, the positioning of whether or not this thing is going to be real, it will be very clear. Here's the daily. There you go. Yeah, it's this larger crab. Not doing anything yet, but certainly looking at this as maybe a first sign or a lifeline of something that looked like it was about to flush. Here's one that we were looking for the retest and never got it. And this is, I think I mentioned this too last week, where we were looking for the retest of Nike on, sorry, this is the daily chart. And it blew right through the zone. And this is what happens when that goes on. Oh, shoot, I got too much here. Hold on. Clean this up. All right, it's a shark. Oh, no, this was a deep crab. There you go. And on this deep crab, we had real nice type 1 reaction up to 114. Looking for this confirmation somewhere between 102 and 92. Never got it, and it just opened up through the hop level. Okay, I mentioned this, I think, last week, and want to be clear that that's the blowout situation of, look, this happens if you're looking for the retest. You get no confirmation, and it just sails through the numbers like that. You step aside, and even if anything, click up to the next time frame, to the higher time frame. Now tell me what Nike looks like. Pretty much, here you go. Looking like a larger 886 down to 74, 75. This is even with the, you can go like this, go off of that level there, you have a shark. You know, the shark, this, in this case, the shark's 2.0. And that gets you down to the 74 area or low 70s. You know, this is, go from there to there. So with a lot of these that are not responding or failing those retests, you got to let them go, step aside, which is another reason why I'm looking at these last 2 days with suspicion. I'm not there yet. You know, we've got a whole bunch of things that have to work themselves out before this is any kind of a bottom. Yeah, here we go. And we're rolling over now. I mean, don't be surprised to see this thing. You're up 270 for right now. But, you know, NASDAQ could drop easily 100, 200 today. I'm more concerned with how this finishes the week. Let me do this. Here's NASDAQ. Come back to this really quick. The daily chart with the crab pattern for NASDAQ, I think, is at around this 11,848. If you stay under that, and you know, if this response, the reaction off of this last 2 days, if that can't even rally above 11,848, you know this is just a short-term 2-day, 3-day dead cat bounce. We haven't closed below the June levels, but again, under any close under 11,000 triggers the bigger scenario. Go to the weekly. This would explain, you know, why Nike would go lower, and a lot of these others that are going to fail. Why we said all along, you take out your B point here. Okay, if it can hold it, great. But why it's so critical is because you're, again, just all BAM real estate. 78, 77.86. Watch it here. We could be on a little check back. Maybe it comes up to 11.8 and then down again. into by Thursday, I guess. Anything here on a 60-minute? See what's doing 60-minute. I mean, that's an amazing run. Nothing yet. Not really nothing yet. All right, it's going to trigger actually on the hourly. Maybe by the end of this hour. We're coming out of the zone right now across the board. So decent place to be looking for this to roll over by tomorrow. Maybe you have a 2-day recovery here. Your 4-hour chart, okay. All of this under 11.6 and HSI, not there yet, but maybe by tonight. Starting to get stuff like that, and amplified RSI has an inflection. So, don't just think that this is some kind of bottom here. All right, one or two more. I want to go back to the TradingView platform and highlight the bond situation, because we talked a lot about that last week. Specifically, the 10-year bond, which had a couple of patterns, shark pattern, retest here. Where's the 2-year? And then the 2-year, let me see here. Did we get to that? We didn't get to the 886. Looks like this. So the 886 up at, it's 475. We traded as high as 430, 435. Keep an eye on both of these. Here's the daily. We did trigger an HSI where these are just got overextended. So not surprised to see this thing come back in a little bit, but it's letting a lot of pressure out. And this is the thing, especially for folks that are that have got the TradingView platform or even any of the platforms. Keep an eye on the 2-year, and look. What we're looking for is Harmonic Strength Index is already oversold. It doesn't look like too much on the price, but this is a situation where the sideways action is just a pause. If we get another bullish reading, that could lead to a continuation in this move in rates. I mean, this is only finally like the first 2 or 3 days in the last 2 months where you've had some kind of rest of the uptrend. But we might get that to fire back in the next day or two, where rates maybe nominally hit 4 and then start to make another run. 475 on the 2-year is the target. That's what we're targeting. 10-year was 366. Let me bring this back here. Where's the weekly? There you go. We had a bat pattern on this. There you go. Okay, so this is the other, probably the more important of the two, the 10-year with this bat pattern, and we're getting HSI. This is on the TradingView platform, folks. I really want to pay close attention to what this does. You're registering your arrow now, which means it came out. Okay, 10-year yield hit the hop level. That 366 has been something that we've been targeting really since April. And now we're getting a weekly response. HSI coming out of the zone. There you go. But it's not official until the end of the week. Keep an eye on, this is probably the most important chart next to Microsoft and Apple for what the market's going to do into year's end. If this can at least trigger by Friday and you can get a pause, I mean, just get rates to go sideways. Just not even, stop them from going up. And if we can get into a type 1 reaction or even just a pause, okay, that might save stocks for now. That's why that's so critical. We won't know till Friday. By Thursday, we'll have a really good idea. So I'll finish with this and we'll start with this on Thursday. Listen, first person to show up on Thursday and type in V3, you'll win a book. I'll give away probably 3 books on Thursday, so come on back then. Until then, everyone, have a great one. Thanks for everybody that showed up. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to meet everyone and do that. Special shout to, again, to Mitch Ray and Brad Fisher. You guys are great. Thank you. And we'll come on back Thursday, folks, 12 noon. Get with the software. I'm going to have to yell at some people, but you know what to do. Become a basic member, harmonictrader.com, and then start your journey here. Until then, we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks, everybody. As always, go get them.